Hey, it's Brian Goulet of the Goulet Pen Company and Ink Nouveau, and I have the TWSBI Vac-20 Inkwell to show you today. It's kind of a neat little device. It's meant to work in tandem with the TWSBI Vac-700 fountain pen, and I'm here to give you a demonstration today of how it works. The TWSBI Vac-20 bottle is available in 5 different colors. The bottom of the bottle is exactly the same, and the black part is the same on all the colors. The only difference is this little cap part here. There's 5 different versions of it. There's a blue one, a black, a green, an orange, and a red. I have here the TWSBI Vac-20 ink bottle. You can see my hand. You've probably seen my hand several times before. I sometimes use it to gauge the size of things that I handle in my videos. But to give you some perspective, this is the box that the Diamond 50 Inkwell comes in. If you've ever bought one of these, you know that this thing ships like it's going to go to a war zone. But that's okay, I don't mind overpacking. It's not something I'm afraid of doing. But the Vac-20 looks like, if you're just looking at the outer packaging, it looks like, what is the big difference here? Now you've got a 50 milliliter bottle versus a 20 milliliter bottle. But a lot of it's just the packaging because of the shape and stuff like that. So I'll take out the 540, the Vac-50, not Vac-50, what am I saying? Diamond 50, sorry, it was made for the 540 fountain pen, that's why I screwed up. But anyway, this is the bottle, the Diamond 50. It's a 50 milliliter bottle, it's glass and aluminum. The Vac-20 bottle is plastic. It's cheaper in price, it's about half the price of the Diamond 50, but it's much simpler packaging. You know, it's plastic, so it's more durable, so you don't have to worry about it in shipping as much. So it just comes in a much simpler package. But you see the bottle itself is definitely smaller, but not as drastically different in size as the packaging right there would make it appear to be. Anyway, so I have another video on how to use the Diamond 50 bottle, but the basic difference is that this bottle is a little more robust, a little heavier, things like that. It's got a bigger ink capacity, about 2.5 times the size of this one. It's got a couple of different things going on with the cap as far as which way you want to use it to draw ink into your pen. You can use any pen here in just the regular part on the bottom, or you can use a 540, 580, 530, or TWSBI Mini here on the top and draw it in there. So that's kind of neat. It kind of introduced the concept of specific bottles made to fill certain pens. If you're familiar with the Visconti traveling ink pot, that's kind of a similar concept as well to what the Vac-20 is all about. It's a very simple design, really. There's no moving parts or anything like that. It's just a couple of pieces. Here's a plastic base with foam there that helps to seal it up. And then it has a removable cap that you can just pull out of there, and it's threaded in here. And those threads are made to match up to the pen of the TWSBI Vac-700, the same threads that the cap fits onto. So basically, when you're using this thing, the concept is you fill the inkwell with ink, you screw your pen into it, and then you're able to fill your pen. That's the basic concept. But let me show you in practice how this thing actually works. Okay, so I have my 3 different pieces here. I have my bottle of nondescript demonstration purpose ink, which is basically like 95% water. I like it to be kind of translucent when I do these videos, that way you can see more what's going on. So you take your ink of choice, decant it in whatever fashion you're comfortable doing into your bottle. You don't want to fill it to the brim, but you can fill it up to where you feel comfortable. I like to fill it up just to beneath where the threads are. And then cap it off because you don't want to spill it. Okay, and then you want to give it a pretty good tightening, because if you don't have it tight enough, it's going to drip when you go to fill it. That's an important step, because I definitely spilled it the first time that I tried to fill it. Anyway, you take your TWSBI Vac-700, you unscrew your colored cap, and you thread it into the bottle, like so. And you want to make sure it's in there pretty snug, okay? So you should be able to turn it upside down, float it all around, and not get any leaks. This is a vacuum filling pen, so what's happening is when you pull your piston up, when you start to push it back down, there's resistance on the back of it here. So what's happening is you're actually forcing some pressure to increase here down at the bottle part. And then when it drops off at the end, it has a negative pressure inside the pen and ink flows up into it. That's basically how the vacuum pen works. The problem that you have if you're using this bottle and you don't have this part of the cap tightened all the way is then when you're pushing the piston down to pressurize it, it's going to force ink to come out here around the threads and cause a big old mess. So you want to make sure you're not doing that. As long as it's tight, you're good to go. When you go to actually fill the thing, this is how your pen is basically going to look. It's all attached like this. You're going to pull your piston out, and then you want to turn it upside down like so. Reason is because it's actually going to fill right at the base of the nib. And then you just basically push your piston. You can see it's kind of bubbling up there into the bottle. And then as soon as it drops off right at the end there, it fills the pen right up. Okay? I find that if you do it twice, that will help to get all the extra air out of the pen. Okay, maybe 3 times. All right, that's probably about as good as I'm going to get it. That's pretty darn full. I'll try it again just to give you a better idea. Okay, because I already had some ink in there when I started. Okay, so again, here I've got an empty pen, kind of flip it upside down, pressurize it, bam. So I got a partial filling on that one, but if I do it again, there I got now much fuller filling. That was a better one. I wish I could have gotten that the first time. Anyway, there you go. So this pen is now full. Unscrew it. Voila. And then your pen is good to go. Screw everything back together, and you've got a pretty darn full TWSBI Vac-700, and I didn't have to wipe anything off. I didn't have to use a paper towel to clean off my nib or anything like that. I can just recap my bottle, and I'm good to go. Now this is a 20 milliliter bottle. The pen holds about 2 milliliters, so you can get, you would assume, 10 fillings out of this. That's not quite the case. I know one thing that I'm going to get asked is that if you've got a small volume of ink, can you use this ink bottle to try to fill your Vac-700? The answer is you really need more than 4 milliliters of ink in this ink well to really be able to fill your Vac-700. Ideally, you want 5 or 6. Reason being, because if you look at the underside of this cap and how this pen actually fits in here. Okay, so when I have this thing threaded in place, that's what it looks like. It's going to fill from right down here, but the cap, not the cap, but the brim of the bottle is going to fit down into this white part with the foam. I don't know if you can see how far down that is. So it creates this large cavity that kind of surrounds this base. And that'll hold about 4 milliliters of ink right there. So you really need enough ink in the bottle to be able to fill that area and then have it come up enough to be able to get to the nib. Does that make any sense? I hope so. Maybe I'll try and demonstrate it here. Let me dump some of this out. Okay. So I've got just a tiny bit of ink in here. See, like that? I've probably got about 3 or 4 milliliters in here. So I'm going to screw my pen on, and when I turn this upside down, you can see that that ink kind of disappears down into that base, and it's not actually getting to the nib. I need to have more ink in there to be able to get it. So if you got only about this much ink, of course I can't really turn it and show you very easily, but if you need to have at least probably about 1/4 of the bottle filled. Just use that as a gauge. But anyway, that's one question I know I get. Someone specifically asked if it was going to fill from, you know, an ink sample vial, like a Goulet ink sample vial, which has between 2 and 3 milliliters. The answer is no, you need an ink syringe to really be able to do that. But, okay. Another cool thing about this, excuse me, I just spilled stuff everywhere. Another cool thing about this is that it's actually compatible with the Diamond 50 bottle. What I mean by that is that the caps themselves are interchangeable, okay? So you can take this off. You can actually take your Vac-20 cap and fit it on your Diamond 50 bottle, and vice versa. Now granted, you have a very small, top-heavy plastic base with a heavy aluminum cap. Makes it very easy to knock it over. Kind of like a little weeble wobble kind of thing, you know. So you got to be really careful if you're actually putting a 540 bottle cap onto a Vac-20. Sorry, did I say 540 again? Diamond 50 cap onto the Vac-20 base. Not super practical, but it can be done. Threads on there and it'll get the job done. But really, the cooler part is that you can use the Vac-20 cap onto the Diamond 50 bottle, and then you can do the same concept, except have a much larger volume of ink with a sturdier base and all that. So if you happen to have both, they are interchangeable. That's just kind of a neat thing. I like to see, you know, a manufacturer that thinks about cross-compatibility and things like that within their own product designs. That's kind of neat. But anyway, that in a nutshell is how you use the TWSBI Vac-20 bottle. I think it's pretty neat. It's definitely a nice bottle if you're going to be traveling or something like that. You just want to make sure it's, you know, sealed up nice and tight. But seems to be pretty durable. I haven't done like any real hard fast testing or any traveling myself with it yet to know. But if you have any feedback about it, you know, just post in the comments and I'd love to know. That is, in essence, the Vac-20 bottle. And of course, if you have a pen that is not going to fit onto this bottle, basically anything besides the TWSBI Vac-700, you can still use it. It still works just like a regular inkwell. You just take the whole cap off, and then I've got, you know, just a Noodler's Ahab here. It's really just a, you know, any random pen. It's not really going to matter which one it is, but as long as you have enough ink in here where you can dip it in just like a normal bottle, and you can still fill your pen using the bottle, and you can still use it for transporting and stuff. You're not going to be able to take advantage of the adapter portion of it, but you still get most of the utility of using it as a regular transport bottle. If you have any questions about the Vac-20 Inkwell, just post here in the comments and I'm happy to help you out. Thanks so much for watching, and right on.